Moshiach is nicht gekommen in Zeiten für Rishonen ins nicht heimgenommen in Zeiten für Nachroinen doch haben wir Atra.
So what's the Chiddush this Yud Shvat? What's novel? What's new? We're always looking for something exciting. So this year is very special. This year marks 70 years from Tafshin Yud Aleph, when the Rebbe said Basi Lagani, when the Rebbe took on the leadership of Chabad Lubavitch and World Jewry. Pei Aleph, this Yud Shvat, is the conclusion of those 70 years. So why is that so significant? So in one of the talks that the Rebbe gives in Tafshin Nun Beis, Parsha Shemois, the Parsha of Geula, the Rebbe relates an incredible pirush, or teaches an incredible pirush in what we're familiar with from our yearly recitation of the Agada, of the teaching of Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, the day Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah became a Nasi. So it says over there, Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, I am like 70 years, and I didn't merit to tell Yetzias Mitzrayim by night, till Ben Zayma gave his drush, that Kol Yemei Chayecha comes to add the nights. Chachamim say, Kol Yemei Chayecha l'havli Moisa Mashiach. And the Rebbe says, what's the shaykhis of this particular teaching to Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah the day that he became a Nasi? And the Rebbe said, well, that's the idea of a Nasi. The idea of a Nasi is to bring Yetzias Mitzrayim to every single Jew. To throw a lifeline of redemption to every Yid, that no matter where he or she might be struggling with darkness, the Nasi of the Dor is the one that captures the energy of Yetzias Mitzrayim. And the Rebbe says the amazing thing about this teaching is that you see from Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah, he's channeling two moments, which inherently are really one moment, but it's like divided in two. The moment of our beginning and the moment of our complete Geula, the moment of Bias HaMashiach. Imagine the energy of the moment of Nigla Alei HaMelech Malchei HaMlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the moment when the Eibishter reveals himself to the Jewish people. And then the moment of Tkabah Shofar Gadol, the moment of that revelation that we're waiting for any second. This powerful, these two forces. The Nasi is Lahavi Limoisa Mashiach and Maskiner Yetzias Mitzrayim Av Baleilois. He drags these two moments. He channels these two moments to the person that's even balaylos, even by night. By day, by night, doesn't make a difference where. A Jew is never stuck. No matter what kind of struggles you have, what kind of addiction, what kind of darkness, what kind of confusion. There is no darkness. There is darkness, but the Nasi gives you the burst of light and the empowerment to connect yourself. And through that connection, to lift ourselves and everyone around us from the shackles of Mitzrayim. The Rebbe says, for Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah to do that, for him to be, as is hinted in his name, Elazar. Elazar means Kael Azar. For him to be the channel of the Eibishter's assistance. The Eibishter's assistance to every single Yid. Or Azariah, same word. Ezer, the assistance that's coming from Yudke, which is again Hashem's name. And both, the Rebbe says, Kael and Yudke are both names that are Lamayla Maseder Ishtalshalos. They're above the adaptation of Elokus to the world. It's the omnipotence of the Eibishter, the infinite power, the infinite potent light of Hashem, or the energy of the Eibishter himself that empowers us and lifts us up of any constriction. So in order for Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah to fit into his own shoes, meaning to say, to fit who he is as a Nasi, the Rebbe says, Nishka Holfen, it doesn't satisfy the fact that has a yichus, he's the 10th generation of Ezra Sefer, and he was a huge Talmud Chacham, and all the qualities that he has, he needs to be, Harei Ani Keben Shivim Shana. He needs the quality of 70 years. He had a speed 70 years. He got it when he was only 18 years old. But yet, he needed that Maila of 70 years. Because 70 years is the shleimus of the Avodah, the perfection, the top perfection of a person's Avodah. Can we see in our lives? Yemei Shenasenu Behem Shivim Shana. The dedicated lifespan that a Yid, everybody should live Arichas Yamim, and now we're awaiting and we're already expecting Chaim Nitzchiyim to live for all of eternity. But the initial set that the Eibishter set for the tikkun that needs to be done in the body, in the Nefesh HaBahamis, in the worldly element of this world, is 70 years. Why? Because we have 7 emotions, and each emotion is, for it to be complete, is times 10. So that's how you have 70. So that's our avodah, behem shivim shana. Now, when our neshama comes down in our body and completes its avodah after 70 years, the neshama then, after 120, goes back up in heaven. And what is given to the neshama? And the ayin de kedusha, as the Rebbe calls it, the ayin rabasi of Shema. It's given to the neshama, the big ayin. The letter ayin also means eye. What's the experience of the afterlife after neshama has been down here below? Is it gets to see Elokus. It gets to see in Gan Eden. The neshama can see godliness in a way that it could never see, even though the neshama was in heaven before. It couldn't see Elokus in this way. Now it can. That happens because of the purification, that it purified the darkness of all the 70 elements of darkness that are part of the makeup of the 70 of the psyche of the human being. Now, if this is by an individual person, a neshama pratis, now when you have the neshama kolelis, the general neshama, especially if it's the Nasi, especially if it's the final Nasi of the Jewish people, the one that has to complete the avodah, bringing the Shekhinah down into the world, and especially that Nasi himself is Nasi number 7, like the Rebbe is 7, and his headquarters is 770, which means, as the Rebbe himself said, the meaning of 770 is the complete tikkun of the entire 70, not in an individual state where it represents one individual human being's 70 pockets of the dark side of our Nefesh HaBahamis, but the darkness of the 70 nations in the world, Bichlalis, the Shivim Ummais, the 70 nations. This complete tikkun that is done by the Doir Hashvi with the Nasi, together with all of his generation, with all of his Chassidim, and all of his Shluchim, and all of the Jewish people together, we complete that avodah, then we come up to the grand big ayin, the big eye. And what's the big eye? As the Rebbe said, Medaf Efen in the Oigen, that we can open up our eyes and point with our finger, Hine Elokeinu Zeh. This is our Eibishter. There's no more halamis v'hesterim. There's no more concealments. Not on Mashiach Tzidkenu himself, and not on the godliness that's within the world. There's no more concealments on our own neshama, on our own purity, on our own holiness. There's no more insecurities within ourselves. But we all have the confidence, and we all have the power to be real chassidim, to be really alive, to really be geula d'geyin. So this is an amazing time, this Yud Shvat, and we should all shtudim as much as we can with incredible excitement and fervor to this amazing moment. Imagine the Rebbe's entire avodah reaching its zenith, reaching the completion, and that's why also it's special, because some people were commemorating the Shnas, and we should, commemorating the Shnas HaShivim last year, because we were entering into the 70th year. But based on this idea, the main inyan of the 70 is when you complete the 70. This collective work of Doir Hashvi in its fullest. Now we come after the 770. 770 is also Gematria Uparatzta, which is the Gilui of Mashiach. May we see the Gilui of Mashiach Tzidkenu, Umalkenu B'Reishenu, Mamish, 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 now, now, now.
Mashiach is nicht gekommen in Zeiten für Rishonen, ins nicht heimgenommen in Zeiten für Nachronen. Doch haben wir Atras, sie werden uns gelassen, Allah Charo in Acharo. Mashiach is nicht gekommen